What's up, everybody? Welcome back. Today, we are going to be looking at what the potential beta print run numbers might be for foil cards and maybe even some non-foil cards. Let's take a look. First off, we are going to grab some data, and I like to use collectorarthouse.com. There may be some other sources as well. This is just the source I'm using. First, what we're going to do is we're going to grab some alpha data. And I'm going to show you, I built a little calculator that extrapolates the alpha set data, the print run for booster boxes, and it figures out what the potential beta numbers are going to look like. Let me show you how I do this. Now, again, this is hypothetical, everybody, okay? But if the beta print run matches the same ratio as the alpha print run when we're talking about foils versus non-foils, this calculator may get us close. But again, I don't know. We're hypothesizing, we're speculating here. Let me walk you through how I'm doing it, and then you can kind of decide for yourself if you like this sort of formula or not. Basically, what I've done down here in my spreadsheet is in the first row, we have our alpha booster box print run, which according to this source on Collector Art House site is roughly 29,000 booster boxes. By the way, Collector Art House may have gotten this information from somewhere else. I don't see it credited anywhere, but if it is, somebody please let me know. Mike, you could let me know as well, and then I can credit that person in the video. Unless you came up with this data on your own, then that's fine as well. Okay, so 29,000 booster boxes. What we do, let's first just take a look at the uniques, okay? We're going to type 248 into the card print run number here in my calculator. And what it's going to do is it's going to figure out the ratio of foil cards to booster boxes. And what it then does, as you can see here on row number 3, this is going to be my beta hypothetical number 1. It's really just for sanity checking because I have a feeling that beta is not 25,000 and that beta is larger than alpha. But for the sanity check, I wanted to see what would the foil print run look like. Again, we're looking at uniques here. If the print run was only 25,000. And you could say the same thing for alpha. Imagine that the third row here is for alpha and there weren't 29,000 boxes. There were only 25. Again, hypothetically. Based on this ratio, you would only have 213 foils instead of 248. So as you change this number, right, you're going to get more foils. So you could bring this all the way up to 29,000. And that, basically we're cross-checking my work here. So at 29,000, what we're doing is we are multiplying the ratio by whatever number is in column B. And because I'm able to basically reverse engineer this very simple formula we know we get back to 248, then I suspect, again, if there's something wrong with my math, you guys let me know in the comments, then at 25,000 boxes, we could have expected a 213 print run for the foil uniques. So if we are good with that math, then this is where we move on to the next set of rows. And this is where I think this is where we care, right here. So this is where we start saying, okay, if beta were a 50,000 booster box print run, then that, and again, assuming that beta's foil to non-foil ratios are the same as alpha, because again, we're going off my alpha ratio here, you've only got 427 unique foils. That would mean those unique philo stones, unique cores, all the hot cards, anything that is a foil unique, there would only be 427. There's less than 500 in the world. Again, assuming a 50,000 booster box print run, we work our way up to 75,000 in another hypothetical scenario, you're only at 641 foil uniques. And if we go all the way up to 100,000, guys, we still have less than 1,000 unique foils. Again, for each card, for each foil, or for each card that's out there. We're only at 855, right? So if we extrapolate this out, I mean, basically we can play with any number we want here, but what I did is I went ahead and pre-filled in this calculator for the ordinaries, exceptionals, elite, and unique. So we just looked at the unique now, but the reason I did that is if we wanted to play around, let's say we do like 60,000, some of you might ask, hey, what if the beta print run was 60,000 based on this hypothetical ratio formula here? We'd have 513 foil uniques. 65,000, we'd have 555. Okay, so I was going to plug in just a few numbers. You guys can pause the video if you want, if I happen to hit a number you like. But I have to pick different numbers because I don't know what the print run was. I'm basically just wanting to give you guys some ideas based on this ratio theory that beta is the same ratio as alpha in terms of the different print run card types. This is what it would look like. Throw in 85. Okay. Now let's do something crazy. I don't know that beta would be more than 100,000, but let's just go like 125,000. Now you're at 1,068. I think that's around, if I'm not mistaken, that is around the Magic Alpha Rare print run number. If I'm not mistaken, I think it was like 1,000 or 1,100 Alpha Rares for Magic the Gathering. Sorry, I don't know if I said that. I'm just thinking about Magic the Gathering there as a comparison. Let's go 150. You're still at 1,200. So really what we're seeing here is that it's just super rare to get a unique foil, because even with numbers like 150,000, you've still only got 1,200 of these unique foils in the world. So let's go take a look at the other numbers. So the ordinaries, I've got it pre-populated here. If we look up top, again, this is where I'm getting the data. So if we took 1,164 ordinary foils, we get a new ratio because they're a little bit more common, right? Or a lot more common, but they're still a foil. So they're going to be, much more rare than a non-foil. This is what you come up with. Okay, so at a 50,000 box range, you're looking at 2,000 ordinary foils. That's still pretty darn rare for, the 50,000 booster box number. But I would also say, until the fan base grows larger, it's hard to tell. Like, I don't know how many fans Sorcery has at the moment. Assuming they're growing and everything at some point, and I have no idea what that velocity of growth looks like. At some point, they may get big enough to where, if there are a lot more fans than this number, then, the 2,000 number, then you start to increase demand and supply starts to diminish. So let's say that there were, 20,000 fans. Then if everybody wanted, let's say, one of the more popular ordinary foils, they all can't get it because there are 10 times more people in the fan base than there are actual ordinary foil cards. So today, I don't know how many fans there are. If there were only 2,000 or 3,000 fans, we've actually got enough ordinaries to go around almost to give one to everybody. So, there's not going to be a ton of demand versus supply. I mean, it's basically going to be that supply is going to outweigh demand in that case. If we move into some of the bigger numbers, 75,000 booster boxes, you're going to have a 3,000 ordinary foil print run And of course, 100,000 brings you up to 4,000 ordinary foil print run. The exceptionals, kind of interesting because at 50,000 boxes, there's only 1,300 exceptionals. Now we're getting, and we're only at the exceptional rate, but we're getting to a point where, again, this is very close to Magic the Gathering's alpha rare print number. It's bigger than that because, again, I think it's like around 1,100, but it's close, guys. And if the game ever got as big, or not even, I don't think these even have to be competitors, these games, but let's say that Sorcery even got like 1 million fans, right? Look at how, I mean, there's just not enough of this stuff to go around. So I think it's one of those things where today the stuff is relatively easy to get because there's just not that many fans yet. If it never grows to that size, then okay, you'll have plenty of supply. But if it does, these are the numbers that we're potentially looking at here. 75,000 booster box print run, you're going to have potentially 2,000 exceptional foils. And at 100,000, you're about 2,700 exceptional foils. Okay. Elites. Elites are, they're substantially more rare. So you do get to a place where at a 50,000 booster box print run, you're under 1,000 cards. So your elites are, they're more rare than a Magic Alpha Rare card. Again, we get back to that concept. And at a 75,000 booster box print run, they're at 1,200, which is pretty close. It's on par with Alpha Magic Rares. Now, if we change some of these numbers a little bit, just so you guys, if you want to play around, 65,000 booster boxes gets you around 1,044 elite foils. Take it down to 60. You're below 1,000 at this point, right? You're 964. And let's see. For those of you who want to take a look at what 55,000 looks like, you're at 883 elite foils. So my unique tab here is just, again, it was pre-populated with what we were kind of playing around with over here on the first tab. So what I'd like to do now is, for those of you that want to understand some of the non-foil numbers, let's just kind of plug some stuff in. And by the way, I'm kind of ignoring the avatars and the sites because if you look over here, elemental avatars match the elite print run, and that's because those are elite rarity cards. Your sorcerer avatar is an ordinary, so again, it's printed at the same level that a ordinary would be printed at, and same with the basic site. So I'm just kind of ignoring those because I'm just talking in general here about the rarity itself, and you can figure out, if you want to translate that to a specific type of card. It doesn't really matter what the card is. It's the rarity that drives the print run. So let's take our non-foil per card number for, I guess let's go with ordinary. Let's just start with that. So this is like super, super common. We've got 125,310 ordinary non-foil cards, like per card. So you are at a 50,000 booster box print run. You're looking at 200,000 of every copy. So this goes back to the concept of making sure that beta is plentiful and there's a ton of supply out there, especially for those that want to play. Even for myself, I'm playing, but I'm also collecting. I like collecting complete sets, and so I have a full non-foil set. I'm not even going to try to go for the foil set. These kind of numbers here just basically mean that I'm going to be able to get that stuff for like very low cost, very readily available. And here's what the other numbers look like for if we had potentially higher booster box print run. Let's go ahead and drop the exceptional per card number in here. So 26,508. Again, that's up here. That is the per card non-foil print run for alpha. We get our ratio, and now here we can see with 50,000 booster boxes, you're looking at 45,000 non-foil exceptionals, and you guys can read the rest. They kind of move up from there. Let's drop the elites in. Okay, now we're starting to get back to that sort of mildly rare there. We've only got 8,700 non-foil elites in alpha per card. So you do get to a place where at 50,000 booster boxes, there's 15,000 available. It's a big number. But if we go back to that concept that, again, we don't know the future. But if sorcery got even a fraction of Magic size, let's say again a million fans, 15,000 non-foil elites aren't enough to go around for those folks that want to go back in time and get some of that stuff from Beta. So again, today maybe relatively cheap. Pretty plentiful, a lot of supply. I don't know if we have 15,000 fans. I have no idea how to gauge that. Maybe we have 50,000. Maybe we have 100,000. Maybe there's only 20. I don't know what's in the community right now. But we are at a place where if it grows even at a decent pace, we should be able to have more people than this number in our community. So 75,000 booster boxes gets you up to 22,000 elite non-foils, and 100,000 gets you up to 30,000 elite non-foils. Let's plug in the unique non-foil for our final calculation. Here's where at 50,000 booster boxes, you've got a potential for 5,800 unique non-foil cards in Beta. That, again, now it's getting, it's relatively rare. I mean, today we could have more fans than that in this sorcery community. And if we do, then again, that means there aren't actually enough unique non-foils even to go around. I wonder if Eric and team had thought about that, and that may have played into what the booster box run was meant to be. You never know, right? You could look at it a lot of different ways. You could reverse engineer it. What if Eric said, hey, I think I've got 5,000 fans today. I want to make sure that everybody could at least have a chance to get any of the unique non-foils. So I have to print at least 50,000 boxes because this would end up being our print run per card for those non-foil uniques, so I'd have at least enough to go around, one for everybody. I don't know if he thought of that. I'm just coming up with this as we're talking through. Maybe that's a possibility. If he felt like, hey, I've got 10,000 fans, and assuming that he wants all 10,000 fans to be able to grab a chance at each unique non-foil, he would have to print more like the 75 or the 100,000 to be able to spread those unique non-foils across the entire fan base. I could be totally off base, guys, right? Like, he may have never had that thought. He may not have any way to figure out how many fans there are. We don't know. But I think it's, an interesting thought exercise to kind of talk through these numbers. Again, looking at this formula, how I'm doing it, coming up with a ratio from alpha, and then applying it to some hypothetical beta print runs. You guys will have to let me know what you think about this theory, about the formula. Is there a better way to hypothesize around how many unique foils exist? And then, of course, all these other different style prints as well. I don't know. One thing we could think of is the Sorcery Kickstarter. I want to say it had 6,000 backers. Again, someone correct me if I'm wrong there. What do you do with that number? Because at the end of the day, how many of the 6,000 will play? How many are just going to dump and flip what they bought? How many new ones didn't get a chance to back the Kickstarter and they're here now, so they're not reflected in that 6,000 number? How many are flipping cards but then also buying and holding cards, or also collecting and they want to build a set, right? So like it's hard to know what to do with that Kickstarter backer number and try to figure out where we might be today, assuming there's some growth there and that it's ultimately a net positive, even if some people flipped and backed out. Is it a safe assumption that more people have joined than people who've left? No idea. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks everybody for watching. See you guys in the next one. Peace.